Thank you for tuning in to the very first step in an extended public outreach process. This process has been kicked off in response to a property owner's application for a general plan amendment and rezoning on a site near the southeast corner of the Tangerine Road and North First Avenue intersection. My name is Hannah Oden, and I am the senior planner for the town of Oro Valley and host of this informational community outreach video. Our goal is to ensure everyone is provided with information regarding upcoming public outreach opportunities, the applicant's proposal, and the next steps. The number one objective is to invite you to participate. The town requires all general plan and rezoning applicants to engage in community outreach at the front end of the process, as it is important to hear your comments and questions early and often. Does your participation matter? Absolutely. Community input has shaped every general plan amendment and rezoning application in Oro Valley. Typically, an in-person neighborhood meeting is held prior to the formal submittal of a general plan amendment and/or rezoning application. However, the zoning code enables the planning and zoning administrator to approve alternative methods of public outreach when warranted. With the ongoing COVID-19 social distancing requirements, alternative methods are necessary and are the best solution under the existing circumstances and timing requirements. Please help us spread the word about this proposal and video. 532 property owners near the site and 116 homeowners associations have been directly notified by mail. Furthermore, the site has been posted with yellow signs in multiple locations. If you weren't notified and wish to be in the future, please send us a request with your name and address to ask@orovalleyaz.gov. This video is the first step in what will be an intensive process. It does not take the place of a much valued in-person neighborhood meeting. Our aim is to provide such opportunities in late summer and fall, safety permitting. Later in this video, we will map out what the process will look like. It is also important to establish that this request is to develop private property. All property owners have the right to request review of their development proposal. This is not the town's proposal, it is the property owners. It is their charge to create, justify, and seek town council approval of their proposal. Furthermore, the town is required to provide due process in a timely manner as prescribed by state law. In particular, major general plan amendments must be acted on by town council in the same year the application is submitted. In this case, that will be this December. As of today, April 10th, we do not have a formal submittal from the property owner, but we do anticipate one from the applicant by the end of this month. A pre-application concept for the site has been provided, and you will hear more about that directly from the property owner's representative, Mr. Paul Oland, later in this video. Here are the steps that we're going to follow. First, I will provide key background information about the property, town code, review criteria, and future opportunities to participate in the process. Secondly, I will introduce Mr. Paul Oland, who is representing the applicant. Mr. Oland will walk us all through the why and what of the property owner's site proposal. Lastly, the most important part is an invitation to provide your questions and comments to ask@orovalleyaz.gov. All questions and comments will be posted on this project's webpage on ovprojects.com. Comments submitted to ask@orovalleyaz.gov by April 23rd will be the foundation of a response video that will be posted on ovprojects.com on April 30th. Again, this is just the first step, and we are only using video to do this because of the COVID-19 pandemic and social distancing guidelines. Additional information has been posted on ovprojects.com, and it will be continually updated as the town receives a formal application and additional information. Let's get started. The applicant's request involves two components. The first is a text amendment to the general plan to permit multifamily and senior care uses on the subject property. The second is a rezoning request that would allow apartments and other rental unit types, including townhomes and senior care. Let's talk more about the public participation process and opportunities for public input. I'll then provide some history and background of the parcel and then briefly describe the applicant's request in more detail, as we will hear even more from the applicant later. This includes highlighting key development standards that would apply to the proposal. Following the applicant's presentation, I'll wrap up with reiterating the next steps and opportunities to provide comments about the proposal. Due to ongoing COVID-19 concerns, the standard neighborhood meeting format has been modified to provide information while still addressing your comments and concerns. After you had a chance to watch this video in its entirety, please use ask@orovalleyaz.gov to submit your questions and comments. All comments received from the date of this video posting, which is April 10th, up to April 23rd, will be used as a foundation for a video response by staff and the applicant that will be posted on April 30th. You can email questions, concerns, and comments throughout this project to ask@orovalleyaz.gov as shown on this slide. Your comments and questions will be posted on ovprojects.com. Following a formal submittal, a web-based, fully interactive Zoom meeting will be offered on May 21st. 2 additional neighborhood meetings will be held in August and September and will be in person if it is safe to do so. If not, interactive, web-based neighborhood meetings will be offered. There are additional opportunities for public input. In October, there will be a first public hearing before the Planning and Zoning Commission and a second one in November. After receiving public testimony, the Commission may vote to provide a formal recommendation to Town Council. The project is anticipated to then be considered by Town Council in December. After receiving community testimony, Town Council may vote to approve, deny, or continue the application. To orient ourselves, the subject property, which is outlined in yellow and is approximately 13.5 acres, is located southeast of the North First Avenue and Tangerine Road intersections. Villages at Silverhawk Residential Subdivision is located to the south, along with Palisades Road, which is also located to the south, and the Palisades Split Subdivision located just to the south of Palisades Road. Catalina Shadows is located to the east of the subject parcel. Walgreens is across North First Avenue, just south of Tangerine Road, and the Safeway near Rancho Vistoso and Tangerine Road is located just to the north across Tangerine Road. Before I get into the background and history of the property in question, I want to spend some more time providing information on the general plan and zoning. I'll start with the general plan. The Your Voice, Our Future general plan is a voter-approved policy document that drives town decisions and reflects community values. It includes a vision, guiding principles, and goals and policies that guide town decisions and development. The general plan includes a land use map, which shows the proposed general uses of land in Oro Valley. The general plan, including the land use map, was ratified by voters in 2016. Property owners have the right to request a land use change to their private property, known as a general plan amendment. The general plan acknowledges that these changes will happen and specifically states that changes to the land use map will occur during the life of this plan, as shown on this slide. All general plan amendments are reviewed for conformance with the vision, guiding principles, and goals and policies of the general plan. Staff also thoroughly reviews how neighbor concerns have been addressed by the applicant as part of their proposal and how the proposal contributes to the long-term stability of the town. For context, this slide shows a portion of the land use map where the subject property is located. I'll discuss the land use in more detail later in the presentation, but as you can see, the subject parcel is designated as Neighborhood Commercial Office. For context, the Safeway just to the north is also designated with the same land use. Property to the south is designated as a master plan community, and medium density residential is located to the east. Now that I provided an overview of the general plan and the land use designation, I'll discuss what zoning is. In essence, zoning is what gives a property owner the legal right to use their land for specific purposes. Zoning regulates a number of things that are included in the town's zoning code, one of which is permitted uses. Permitted uses specify what uses are allowed on a property based on the zoning district. This includes single-family homes, apartments, restaurants, offices, and retail, just to name a few. Zoning also regulates development standards such as building height and mass, building setbacks, and required buffers between uses. Oro Valley has 18 zoning districts, which include residential, commercial, office park, and open space zoning. The subject property is within an area identified in the Your Voice, Our Future general plan known as Capri. That area is shown outlined in blue on this slide and the subject property is shown outlined in yellow. Special area policies for the Capri area had previously been adopted in the town's general plan to define the type and character of development for the area. These special policies also play a role in the rezoning, which I will discuss later. Two specific policies are applicable to this property and the applicant's request. One is that the number of residential units for the Capri area be limited to 255 units. Currently, 227 units exist in the Capri area. The other is that the subject parcel must be developed for commercial and office uses. In 2015, the subject property was rezoned from large lot residential R1-144 zoning to commercial C1 zoning. The area to the south was included in the rezoning but is still zoned for single-family homes. The area was rezoned concurrently with the vision for a master plan community type of development with the commercial area serving the nearby residences. The image to the right shows the extent of the rezoned area with the subject property outlined in yellow. C1 commercial zoning permits uses such as offices, retail, and restaurants. As part of the rezoning, a site plan, known as a tentative development plan, was approved for the subject parcel, which I will show in a couple of slides. The tentative development plan shows a layout with commercial uses for the property. The rezoning also conserved approximately 59% of the rezoned area as natural open space. The extent of open space preservation goes well beyond any of the residential subdivision in this area. During both the adoption of the special area policies in the general plan and the rezoning and site layout of the property, there was a tremendous amount of outreach, discussion, and compromise with neighbors and the public. During the rezoning, the Capri area was mapped for 255 residential units per the special area policies, but only 227 residential units have been provided. This slide shows the approved tentative development plan from the 2015 rezoning. Again, the subject parcel is outlined in yellow. As you can see, commercial uses are shown on the property with multiple buildings. Commercial uses are also shown on the adjacent property to the west. The remainder of the area includes single-family residential homes within the Villages at Silverhawk subdivision. And a substantial amount of open space is shown in green. I am now going to briefly provide an overview of the applicant's proposal, starting with the proposed general plan amendment. As explained earlier, the voter-approved Your Voice, Our Future general plan includes a land use map which shows the general uses of land for properties in Oro Valley. The applicant is not proposing changing the land use designation of the property. The property is currently designated as neighborhood commercial office, which is intended to serve surrounding residential development. Uses envisioned under this land use include office uses, retail, grocery stores, and drugstores. Residential uses may also be included on a case-by-case basis. The general plan amendment the applicant is proposing is a text amendment to the general plan to change the special area policies for the Capri area mentioned previously. Currently, the policies limit the number of residential units to 255 and restrict uses on the subject parcel to just commercial and office uses. Currently, 227 residential units exist, and the applicant is proposing to increase the allowable number of residential units in the Capri area by allowing multifamily residential or senior care development on the subject parcel. Again, this will involve the property owner asking for a text amendment to the general plan, changing those special area policies. The second part of the applicant's request is to rezone the property to permit multifamily uses, including apartments or other residential rental types and senior care on the subject property. The property is currently zoned commercial C1. This zoning permits commercial uses such as retail, professional offices, and drugstores. The zoning allows for more intensive commercial uses and is generally located along major arterial roadways. The applicant is proposing to rezone the property to multifamily residential R6 zoning. This zoning district allows for multifamily uses and higher residential density. It also allows for professional offices on a residential scale that support employment opportunities. This zoning district permits apartments, senior care, and townhomes, which is why the applicant is proposing the change, as the existing C1 zoning does not permit these residential uses. A table is provided on this slide which shows the differences between C1 and R6 zoning and what uses are allowed in each zoning district. C1 zoning allows commercial uses, including retail and restaurants, while R6 zoning allows multifamily residential uses. This slide shows the approved tentative development plan on the left side of the screen for the subject parcel from the 2015 rezoning. As you can see, the site plan shows commercial uses, which is consistent with C1 zoning. As part of the rezoning process, a new tentative development plan for the proposed site layout is required. This is the design the applicant will be held to should their request be approved by Town Council. The applicant is proposing multiple tentative development plans for the rezoning that would include plans for townhomes or casitas, apartments, and senior care. The image on the right side of the screen shows a proposed site plan for apartments. The applicant will explain more about their proposal and provide more information during their presentation. I now want to discuss a few noteworthy development standards. The proposed development would be subject to R6 zoning standards. Multifamily development would be limited to 25 feet or 2 stories, which is currently the allowed height under C1 zoning standards. For context, this slide shows an image of a financial institution on the left side of the screen, which is approximately 25 feet high and currently permitted under C1 zoning. There is not a proposed height increase. However, the Planning and Zoning Commission may recommend and Town Council may approve a reduction to 18 feet within 50 feet of existing single-family residential if applicable. This slide also shows an image of a home approved for the Villages at Silverhawk subdivision on the right side of the screen. These homes are limited to 18 and 25 feet in height, and some are 2 stories, as shown in this image. Again, the height would apply to multifamily residential uses on the subject property. A minimum of 35% of the net lot area must also be retained as open space. The proposal must adhere to appropriate landscape buffers required by the zoning code, and an updated traffic analysis will be required. This proposal will be reviewed for conformance with the general plan vision and guiding principles and goals and policies. Special attention will be paid to how the proposal supports commercial vitality, view impacts, and any impacts to open space. The proposal will also be reviewed for conformance and compatibility to the zoning code. Special attention will be paid to view impacts, transitions between land uses, and compatibility with the surrounding area, and traffic and circulation impacts. At this juncture, I would like to introduce Mr. Oland, who is representing the property owner. Mr. Oland will now share with us all the why and what of their application to change the Your Voice, Our Future general plan and the zoning. Mr. Oland.
Thank you, Ms. Oden. I'm Paul Oland with Paradigm Land Design, representing the property owner in this application. The subject property is part of a larger land holding that was acquired by the Kai family over a half a century ago. Much of that original land holding has been developed over the years for various residential purposes. This property is known as Silverhawk Block 5 and is currently zoned for commercial development along with Block 4 to the west. Block 4 is right on the corner of Tangerine and First, and we believe someday it'll be viable for commercial development. Unfortunately, several factors make this property, Block 5, unsuitable for commercial use. First, it has poor visibility from nearby streets. This alone is a critical flaw for retail. Second, it is physically located well off the corner of Tangerine and First. Third, there is an abundance of more suitable, undeveloped commercial parcels nearby. Fourth, the market for retail floor space is weak in this part of the Tucson metro area, partially due to that abundance of commercially zoned land nearby, and partially due to the lack of the residential density needed to support extensive retail use. And lastly, a relatively low number of additional residential units are likely ever to be built within the parcel's retail service area, so the retail market isn't likely ever to improve much at this location. All these factors lead us to believe that the most viable and most appropriate use for this property would be for residential or senior care uses. Today, I'm here to provide some preliminary details about our proposed downzoning of this land to allow that. As Ms. Oden mentioned, over 15 years ago, a list of general plan special area policies were applied to the overall Capri property, which encompassed roughly 290 acres east of 1st Avenue from Tangerine Road to Naranja Drive. The policies provided direction for development of the entire property, including identifying approximately 24 acres at the corner of Tangerine and 1st as being appropriate for commercial development. It's the area shown in light pink that's neighborhood commercial office designated in the general plan. The policies also required that the entire property be master planned. The sanctuary at Silverhawk neighborhood was developed under its existing zoning, so it did not require rezoning. This master plan shown on the screen was prepared during the rezoning of the area known as the Villages at Silverhawk. You can see that it includes a site plan for commercial uses on blocks 4 and 5. Notice that the entire planned commercial area gains all access from 1st Avenue. In this aerial photo from 2018, you can see many of the homes in the sanctuary built or under construction. You can also see that the 3 phases of the villages have been graded, and the model complex here is under construction. All of this is in accordance with the approved master plan. Overlaying the commercial blocks 4 and 5 on the aerial, you can see how they fit into the overall property, and you can see the proposed loop road connection between 1st and Tangerine that will help spread future traffic loads onto both roads rather than pushing all traffic onto 1st as shown in the master plan. This loop road connection has already been studied and approved as part of the village's engineering efforts, and it has been shown to be a significant improvement over the single access configuration in the master plan. Notice also that block 5 is over 1/3 of a mile from the intersection and not adjacent to either road. It just doesn't work for retail use in this part of town. This is a close-up of the elements we overlaid on the last slide. The loop road that is already partially built is right here. Phases 1 and 2 of that loop road are here. Phase 3 of that loop road is right here. That'll be built with Villages Phase 3, which is also currently under construction. The connection to Tangerine Road will eventually be made when this parcel develops, and it will include a left in, right out connection to Tangerine. There won't be a left out, as that would cause too many traffic conflicts. Block 4 is right here. That's the commercial parcel that we believe will be viable someday. And of course, block 5, the subject property, is right here. Villages Phase 3, you can see, wraps around this subject property. As Ms. Oden mentioned, we proposed several conceptual site plans or tentative development plans representing the different development scenarios. This concept depicts a rental casita product similar to a number of others that have been very successful around Tucson and Phoenix. The residents of this sort of development are typically renters by choice, meaning that they could afford to purchase a home but prefer not to at this time. The project is well landscaped, features a central recreational amenity such as a pool and spa area, and most often it's entirely single story. Appropriate buffer yards and setbacks are provided along the project's perimeter, and it's worth mentioning that the nearest residents in the Catalina Shadows neighborhood are over 800 feet away and will be separated from this development not only by distance but also by homes to be built within the Villages at Silverhawk Phase 3. This development concept will not negatively impact any nearby homeowners in the area. This next development scenario features 2-story apartments within a gated, amenitized, and well-landscaped setting. As with the rental casita scenario, the project would include a central recreational amenity, including a clubhouse and rental office. And also, as with the casita scenario, residents in apartments such as this usually choose to live in an apartment even though they would have the means to purchase a home. Again, landscape buffer yards and building setbacks are provided between this development and what will become neighbors when the Villages Phase 3 gets built. This development concept will not negatively impact any nearby homeowners in the area. Currently in Oro Valley, there is a significant unmet need in the senior care industry. I know it may not seem like it because there are already several senior care facilities here, but the fact is that an increasing number of people are deciding that modern senior care facilities are an attractive living option that provides resort-like amenities and also the support that many aging people or their spouses require. If the property develops as a senior care facility, the site plan would look something like this, with a main 2-story building where assisted living, memory care, and/or independent living quarters are offered. Around the perimeter, one-story independent living cottages would provide a place where those requiring less care could live with a bit more room while still benefiting from the amenities and services available from the main building. Senior care facilities are very low traffic generators, and they're just as quiet, if not quieter, than other residential areas in Oro Valley. This development concept will not negatively impact any nearby homeowners in the area. We also propose development scenarios including townhomes or what would basically be an extension of the Villages of Silverhawk single-family subdivision. Again, thank you for your interest in this proposal. Downzoning this property to allow senior care uses or relatively dense residential development makes sense from a long-term market perspective. It also makes sense from a land use perspective because it'll serve as a transition between the commercial land along First Avenue and the future residences to the east. And creating a place for new residents to live on this property will help the struggling retailers that are already in the community. There are no homeowners adjacent to this property, and this rezoning will not negatively impact any nearby homeowners in the area. Even so, we are only in the early stages of this process, and we look forward to hearing any questions or comments you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oland. I would like to conclude by reiterating how to make your voice heard over the course of this process. The town invites all of you to provide your questions and comments to ask@orovalleyaz.gov. All questions and comments will be posted on this project's page on ovprojects.com. Please get busy sending us your comments. All comments submitted to ask@orovalleyaz.gov by April 23rd will be the foundation of a response video that will be posted on ovprojects.com on April 30th. Even beyond that first comment period, your ideas and comments will be welcome throughout this entire project. Again, this is just the first step, and we are only using video to do this because of the COVID-19 pandemic and social distancing guidelines. Additional information has been posted on ovprojects.com and will be continually updated as the town receives a formal application and additional information. We are proceeding in the very best possible way to meet the requirements of state law. Following a formal submittal, a web-based, fully interactive Zoom meeting will be offered on May 21st. 2 additional neighborhood meetings will be held in August and September and will be in person if it is safe to do so. If not, interactive, web-based neighborhood meetings will be offered. There are additional opportunities for public input. In October, there will be a first public hearing before the Planning and Zoning Commission and a second one in November. After receiving public testimony, they may vote to provide a formal recommendation to Town Council. The project is anticipated to then be considered by Town Council in December. After receiving community testimony, Town Council may vote to approve, deny, or continue the application. Please use ask@orovalleyaz.gov and ovprojects.com throughout this process to provide feedback and stay informed. We will continue to notify the property owners who received a yellow postcard for this meeting and post the property with yellow signs for upcoming events. If you wish to receive a postcard and did not for this meeting, please reach out via ask@orovalleyaz.gov and provide your name and address, and we will ensure that you are notified next. Thank you for your care and consideration, especially in these challenging times. Again, I would like to reiterate, it is important to hear your comments and questions early and often. The extent of community participation is what makes Oro Valley a special place. Community input has shaped every general plan amendment and rezoning application in Oro Valley, just as it will on this project. After providing your comments to ask@orovalleyaz.gov, please stay in the know by checking onto ovprojects.com and tune in for the next video on April 30th. Thank you for your time.